In my recent video on building the perfect 100-bottle wine cellar with a budget of $5,000, I allocated 18 bottles, around $900 in total, to what I think is one of the most rewarding categories, aged reds. This is where the real magic of collecting begins. But because they are the wines that quietly transform while you get on with life. One day, you open a bottle you have almost forgotten about, and it's become something far greater than when you bought it. Finding those wines isn't easy. You need bottles with enough structure to reward patience, but enough charm that you won't regret opening one after 5 or 6 years if curiosity gets the better of you. After decades of collecting, making mistakes, and discovering which wines genuinely reward both drinking and aging, these are 6 bottles I would happily buy again if I was starting from scratch. In fact, I continue to buy most of them today. By the end of this video, you will understand not only why I chose these wines, but why they have each earned multiple places in my cellar. And one final thought before we begin. While you are still discovering your preferences, buy 3 or 6 bottles rather than a full case of 12. A cellar should evolve alongside your taste. Here are 6 examples from my cellar. Chinon, La Croix, Boissée, Bernard Baudry. If someone asks me for one Cabernet Franc that proves this grape can age as gracefully as far more expensive wines, this would be one of my first recommendations. After studying in Beaune, Bernard Baudry founded his domain in 1975 with just 2 hectares in his native village of Cravant-les-Coteaux. Today, the estate spans 32 hectares across many of Chinon's finest sites. His son Mathieu joined in 2000 after working in Mâcon, Bordeaux, Tasmania, and California before taking over in 2012, continuing the family's commitment to sustainability following their organic conversion in 2006. The result is one of Chinon's benchmark producers. Dark fruit, tea leaves, and graphite lead into a palate that's creamy on entry before tightening with chalky tannins and a saline freshness. Dense but never heavy, powerful but beautifully poised. This is Cabernet Franc that rewards patience while already offering enormous pleasure today. The 2018 vintage is around $45. Moorooduc, Château La Lagune. If you are looking for one left bank Bordeaux around $50 that consistently over-delivers, Château La Lagune deserves to be on your shortlist. Founded in 1587, La Lagune is one of the Médoc's oldest estates and was classified as a third growth in 1855. The Frey family acquired the estate in the early 2000s and transformed both vineyard and cellar. The 110-hectare property has been organic since 2016 and biodynamic since 2021. Caroline Frey managed the estate from 2004 to 2025 and played a defining role in shaping the elegant style for which La Lagune is now known. Asian spices, blackcurrant, and black tea lead into a rich yet polished palate layered with tobacco, cedar, and licorice. What I love most is the balance. It combines elegance with concentration and continues to evolve beautifully for many years while remaining approachable long before full maturity. The 2019 vintage is around $50. Moorooduc, Château Cantemerle. Some wines don't make headlines. They simply keep delivering year after year. Cantemerle is one of them. Viticulture here dates back to 1354, while serious wine production began in the late 16th century under Jean de Villeneuve. Caroline de Villeneuve successfully secured an estate's place as a 5th growth in 1855. After decades of decline following phylloxera, insurance company SMABTP purchased the property in 1981 and began the long process of restoring its reputation. Today, quality continues to improve vintage after vintage. Dark berries, cedar, pencil shavings, leather, and forest floor introduce a wine that's polished, savory, and wonderfully balanced. It isn't trying to impress with sheer power. Instead, it offers a kind of classic mediocre strain that keeps throwing me back. Reliable, age-worthy, and one of Bordeaux's quiet bargains. The 2015 vintage is around $45. Saint-Julien, Clos du Marquis. Many people still think of Clos du Marquis as simply the second wine of Le Ville-Lascaz. Today, Clos du Marquis is now a superb wine on its own merits. First released in 1902, it originally came from the Petit Clos beside Château Léoville. From the 1980s onwards, it developed its own identity, drawing fruit from separate vineyards, surrounded by some of Saint-Julien's finest classified growths. Dark berries, tobacco, coffee, leather, graphite, and earth give way to raspberry, blackberry, plum, orange zest, cedar, and licorice. There is genuine depth and structure here, but also freshness that keeps everything lively. One of those wines that comfortably holds its own alongside many classified growths. The 2020 vintage is around $65. Saint-Estèphe, Château Lafon-Rochet. Saint-Estèphe is often associated with powerful, uncompromising wines. Lafon-Rochet shows the more refined side of the appellation. Classified as a fourth worth in 1855, the estate struggled after the Second World War before Guy Tesson purchased it in 1960. Over 6 decades, the family expanded the vineyards from 15 to over 40 hectares, turning Lafon-Rochet into one of Saint-Estèphe's reference points. Since 2021, the Lorenzetti family has continued that work. Blackberry, blackcurrant, cedar, and spice introduce a wine that's polished, bright, and beautifully proportioned. Fine tannins give structure without heaviness, making it approachable in the medium term while still rewarding extended aging. The 2020 vintage is around $50. Mornington Peninsula, Moorooduc Estate, McIntyre Pinot Noir. If I wanted one New World Pinot Noir that could stand proudly beside many Premier Crus from Burgundy, this would be high on my list. Mornington Peninsula has become one of Australia's greatest Pinot Noir regions. Richard and Jill McIntyre planted Moorooduc in 1982, and today their daughter Kate McIntyre, Master of Wine, helps lead the estate. Black cherry, blood orange, baking spice, cocoa, mint, and savory complexity unfold across a generous, yet remarkably elegant palette. Oak is beautifully integrated, while firm but refined tannins carry a long finish, full of depth and freshness. A magnificent Australian Pinot Noir that continues to impress me every time I open a bottle. The 2020 vintage is around $50. And finally, a bonus bottle. Pays du Gard, Roc d'Anglade. If you are searching for something that drinks like Northern Rhone, but costs considerably less, don't overlook Roc d'Anglade. Rémi Pedreneau left a career in computer engineering to found the estate in 1999 near Nîmes. After working alongside Domaine Rostin during his first 4 vintages, he developed one of southern France's most distinctive estates. Farmed organically across north-facing limestone, marl, clay, silica, and seal soils, Rémi even chose to leave the appellation in order to make wines on his own terms. Red and black fruits, leather, sweet spice, orange blossom, and forest floor lead into a wine that's simultaneously fresh, deep, and beautifully composed. Chinon provides the backbone, while the overall impression is one of Northern Rhone elegance rather than Mediterranean weight. One of the finest value discoveries in my cellar. The 2019 vintage is around $45. These are the aged reds that continue to earn their place in my cellar year after year. They remind me that the greatest reward in collecting isn't simply owning bottles. It's opening them at exactly the right moment, Not every wine improves with age. These do. And every time I revisit them, they remind me why patience is one of the most rewarding parts of wine collecting. If you are building a wine cellar from scratch, I think any of these bottles would make an excellent foundation for the wines you will enjoy 5, 10, or even 20 years from now. And if there is an age-worthy wine under about $50 that you think deserves a place in this category, I would love to hear about it in the comment section below. You will find more of my cellar insights and tasting notes on Instagram. Massive thanks for watching today, and I will see you in the next one.